What's good, y'all? Welcome to my review for Night 1 of WrestleMania 37. Bruh. Overall, first off, I gotta say, man, it was great to see live fucking people in the crowd. Actually, Geekdom 101 was also there in the audience for this WrestleMania as well, too. Didn't really see him in the crowd, but I wasn't exactly looking for him. But that was pretty cool. So I was kind of seeing like, oh, the stage looked fantastic. The crowd was in it throughout the most of the show. And it was a great experience, like, just seeing the crowd finally back and all that jazz. Even though the fucking weather, the gods, the wrestling gods had said otherwise. We're like, thunder warnings, there was like a windstorm, there was fucking rain going on with WrestleMania. Like the weather was like, had different plans for WrestleMania this year. They were like, no, sir, this will not be smooth sailing. Which is pretty funny. But besides that, this was indeed a great show, man. Like, I would definitely say this was better than last year's WrestleMania, but then again, that isn't really saying much. But this was still a great show, and Bianca and Sasha, my god, man, did they fucking kill it. They stole the show. They, without that, the best match of the night, man. It was such a fantastic match. With low-key, probably Sasha's best match was probably like Takeover Respect when she had that Iron Woman match with Bayley. It was that damn good, man. It was fucking amazing, man. I loved it, man. This match was fake and amazing, man. You guys know me, I'm not really one of those people that really preaches like diversity and representation and yeah, do this, yeah, come on, let's get some black wrestlers in the main show, let's make them champion. You know what I mean? That ain't my thing. I like, if you earn the shot, you get it, that's cool. You know, I'm not really one to like preach that kind of thing because that's just not me. But you could definitely tell how much this match meant to Sasha and Bianca. Not only because this was like the second time we've had women main event a card in main event WrestleMania, which you would see it on Sasha's face how much it meant to her, but also two women of color, which was the first time ever for that. So, and both of these women worked their ass off and well-deservedly earned that main event spot. And so congrats to both of them, and they both fucking killed it, man. So that was it. So you gotta admit, that's pretty cool, and that definitely is, progress, I would say, for black wrestlers in general. That they're now main eventing WrestleMania, especially women, Sasha and Bianca, because they both definitely deserved it. Naomi, they still finding ways to fuck her, but we won't talk about that. We'll talk about that later on in the show once we get to that goddamn tag title match. But besides that, man, this show was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So without further ado, let us jump right in, boys. So, to start the show off, we started off with Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley. This started the show, I think they even mentioned that it was either Drew's call or the crowd's call to make it the first match. Somebody, I forget who, somebody said that it was somebody who wanted this match to open the show. And I want to say it was Drew. And of course, you could see Drew, once he finally made his way through the curtain and was making his entrance, you could see him visually getting emotional, finally being in front of live fans, considering what happened at last year's WrestleMania. So he came into his entrance, the sword and everything, but this time with the 3, 2, 1, and bam, puts it in there. The staging, I thought, looked fucking fantastic, man. I wouldn't be surprised, low-key, if half of these props that were here for the stage were what they were going to use last year, but they just decided to reuse them here. It also wouldn't surprise me if the ship was what they were going to use last year. But anyways, that one's right. But the match, and then, of course, Bobby Lashley makes his entrance, and we get to the actual match itself. It was a great match. Started off fast and furious. Both of these guys were going at each other's throat. Both of them were out for blood. And later on in the match, what actually surprised me the most about this match was that actually Drew started using the Kimura lock. The Kimura, which is typically a move you guys suspect was used for Brock Lesnar. And with Brock Lesnar, that was like his submission move he used all the time right when he first came back to WWE back in like 2012, when he was like really just coming off the heels of his UFC run. He used that move a lot. We all saw it, that kind of thing. Then after a while, he kind of just stopped using it. I was surprised that he actually used it. I thought that might have been kind of cool considering his history with Drew McIntyre for him to use his submission on Bobby Lashley. I thought that was quite interesting. So eventually, as the match progresses, Drew gets inside the Hurt Lock, and the first time he manages to break out of it like my man's going Super Saiyan. Then he got it in later on in the match. He like the whole thing with Claymore kick, 3, 2, 1. You know, like I said before, it was amazing to see the crowd back, and they were really into the match. But then the second time, Drew was like struggling to get out. He's trying to power up, but he just can't. And then my man manages to like get on the rope. He like puts his foot on top of the rope before Bobby like pulls him away, rolls him over. It's basically laying on top of him as he's having the hurt block locked in. And eventually Drew just passes out, and Bobby Lashley wins the match and retains the title, which I wasn't completely surprised by. I thought I was kind of like 50-50 on whether or not Drew would get the title because of what happened last year, or they would keep Bobby Lashley with the championship. They kept it with Bobby, and I think that was definitely probably the right call. He's been doing great things with the championship. He's been a good champion, so let's keep it going. Anyway, so next up was the Gauntlet Women's Eliminator, whatever the fuck bullshit. I honestly did not even bother watching this match. I'm gonna be real. When this match was on right afterwards, first I went to the bathroom and took a piss. Then after that, while the rest of the match was going on, I was DMing Emmanuel and telling him the story about one of my boys in the GCM and on Twitter damn near killed himself after drinking 5 cups of vodka the previous night. It was not a pretty sight, and I was literally just telling him that story as this match was going. All I caught from this match was Naomi was like the first to get pinned, which was fucking bullshit. Which was fucking bullshit, by the way. Mandy Rose tripping via GIF on Twitter. Dana Brooks nip slip on Instagram. Apparently there was also a botch between Lana and Billie Kay that happened in this match. I did not see it, of course, because I wasn't watching it, but JD mentioned it in his review. And Riot Squad got eliminated, which was fucking bullshit. They should have won. And Naomi and Natalya and Tamina winning the match. Why was this on WrestleMania's card? I'm gonna sound like a broken record because I'm gonna repeat what JD mentioned. It's like SmackDown review and a couple of reviews he's mentioned this, but why was this on the WrestleMania card and not the tag team and not the men's SmackDown tag team match? Why was that omitted and put on SmackDown, WrestleMania SmackDown, whatever you want to call it? And why was this what made this more worthy of WrestleMania than that match, when most of the women in this goddamn match can't even fucking wrestle? Like, you have Billie Kay teamed up with Carmella. I honestly feel bad for Carmella because she has actually been working her ass off and it's gotten a lot better in the ring, and her character work is a lot better. She's just gotten so much better since when she won the Women's Championship back in 2018. And you put her with Billie Kay, she also makes Carmella look like fucking Mr. Perfect in terms of because Billie Kay can't fucking wrestle. You got Lana. She can't wrestle either. She's trash. Why are these women even here? This makes no damn sense, man. This makes absolutely no damn sense. The only reason I can think about why this was put on WrestleMania and not the SmackDown tag title match, which really should have been, is because they're women and this was for the women's tag team title. And you know how all the SJWs and fucking snowflakes would have gone all pissy and be like, oh, how dare you not put the women on WrestleMania? How dare you put them on SmackDown? You know what I mean, man? And it's like, this is why I do not fucking preach or promote, or whatever you want to say. I do not preach to the choir about like, oh, give Sasha and Becky and Bianca the main event because they're black women. You know what I mean? Like, if your storyline is the most important, or in Bianca's case, you won the Royal Rumble, then yes, give them the main event spot night one. If not, shut your mouth and put them in the main event. That's the same thing with this. This had no business on WrestleMania, and this should have been saved for SmackDown at best. Anyway, let us continue. So next up was Cesaro and Seth Rollins. This match fucking slapped. I fucking adore this match. I absolutely love this match. First off, Seth got new theme music, which fucking slaps, by the way. It sounded like it was hard to tell because of the crowd and everything, but it sounded like it was almost like a remix of the Burn It Down theme, it looked like, kind of. Also, I dug Seth's gear he was rocking for this night, so shout out to Mikaze, because he did a great job with the Seth gear for this match. But then, you know, Cesaro came in there, so the match started off. I really thought the build for this match with like the swing and the political like advert that Seth had about like how he should be the one that should be leading SmackDown, not Cesaro. This and the third. I thought that was really good. Once the match gets started, Seth was predominantly focusing on the arm, on like the right arm of Cesaro. That ended up being the primary focus of the match. These guys absolutely killed each other. You had Seth, you of course actually had Cesaro doing this swing. He ended up doing two swings. One swing he did just a single 9 rotation because he couldn't keep going because of his arm. The second time he actually topped his record, which from 22 to 23 it was. You also had Seth doing that amazing move that I love that he does where he like almost like goes for like a kick, kind of, or like when he goes for a kick, locks his leg like right on like the thigh or whatever of the opponent before coming right back there and like kicking them in the back of the head. I always thought that move looked so fucking cool when he debuted that on SmackDown a couple weeks back, and it looked fucking awesome here. You had Seth, of course, deliver a fucking pedigree, which was also pretty cool, 2 count. You also had Seth delivering a corkscrew splash. The first time I'm pretty sure it's not the first time I've ever seen that move, at least from Seth. Which, you know, say what you will about Seth and what he said on Twitter and all that shit, but you cannot deny how great of a pro wrestler he is. That man can fucking work, and he proved it in this match. So did Cesaro. This was easily the second best match of the night behind Sasha and Bianca. So that was awesome. You had that. Then, of course, I mentioned second rotation. But, no. Cesaro wasn't done impressing the people. My man was like, yeah, you know what? I already got about 2 big pops from the swing, from both swings. Let me get a third pop. So my man does like I forget what the move was called. It was called like a UFO like air spin or whatever. You know that move where like someone puts them up in like a fireman's carry or whatever, or when they're when their back is actually on their shoulders instead of their stomach, and they just spin them around for a while. My man did that, but with no arms. He was literally balancing Seth Rollins with basically just his neck and his shoulders. As he's swinging around, he did this for like 10 times, and I'm just like, what the hell? Like, it was so fucking insane, man. It was very impressive, man, and I was just in shock throughout the entire set. I was like, yo, because that's a move I have legitimately never seen before, and it looks fucking awesome. Of course, it got a huge pop from the crowd. So you had that. Then, of course, we ended the match with Seth going for the curve stomp, but Cesaro countered into a European uppercut into the neutralizer for the 1-2. Fantastic match. I think they went over about 15 minutes. Honestly, I could have seen these guys go on for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. But hey, and I wouldn't be surprised if they either keep going with this feud a little bit longer. Maybe we see them on the SmackDown after WrestleMania, or they continue the feud on to like Elimination 2 Extreme Rules, or whatever the next pay-per-view is, because these two were absolutely beautiful together, and they absolutely killed it with this match. And was easily the best match of the show at that point when it happened. So next up was the Raw Tag Title match between the New Day as well as AJ Styles and Moss. Actually, if you guys were paying attention, looking closely, you guys would notice with Kofi Kingston, with his Curious where you noticed, he was actually wearing a pair of Air Jordan 1s, the OG, like black and red color scheme or whatever you want to call them. Like the original colorway of those, which I liked. I thought that was cool because Air Jordan 1s are fucking amazing. I love those shoes, like my favorite shoe of all time. Such a versatile shoe. I love the Air Jordan. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, Big E comes in there. He does the whole like, Tampa Bay! Don't you dare! He's there because, first time crowd, fans, let's do it. So anyway, you got the match. It starts out with AJ Styles pretty much getting beaten and, getting beaten by the New Day as they're all basically like taunting him and playing with him and just trying to keep him away from all Moss. AJ tries to get to him, but the New Day always find ways to stop him, to stop him from doing that. There was one time where AJ got clever where he kind of ran out into the outside of the ring, then ran over to the side of the ring where all Moss is taking, move into the ring and try tag him that way, like shortcutting it, but Xavier would still manage to catch it. Another time when he finally able to get a tag, Xavier was on the top rope. AJ was kind of like no one was near him around the middle of the ring, so he could very easily just leap and dive over to catch Almas to make the tag. he could have very easily done that. But you did, because Xavier's something like, don't you do it, don't you do it. He, of course, rushes over there, tags in Almas. Almas comes in. He looks pretty good overall, I would say. From what we saw in this match, he basically just beats the shit out of the New Day. I like the way how this was shot. The camera's kind of always focused more on a low, from a low angle to make it to really show it, to really emphasize his size. So, of course, the New Day, they stand no chance. My man's just no-selling everything as he just, like, grabs Kofi and then just like a big ass like powerbomb choke slam thing, and then just puts his foot over him for the Family 3. AJ Styles and Almas Raw Tag Team Champions. Like I said before, good match, nothing crazy. Thought it was good. Next up, you had Shane McMahon versus Braun. This match, or the build rather, fucking sucks. You could not pay me to give a shit about Braun being stupid. Like, that whole shit was fucking stupid. I hated it. You can pay me to care. It was dumb. Could not care. Now, overall, the match itself was actually not that bad. It was fine. It was a decent match. I did not hate what I saw. I wasn't also paying completely attention, but I didn't have my entire attention focused to it because, like I said, I just didn't care. But from what I saw most of the match. I enjoyed what I saw. I did not hate it. So anyway, Shane makes his entrance. He's in the cell first. Then Braun comes in there. Of course, he's jumped by Elias and the other, and like fucking whatever his name is, Jackson Riker or whatever. He gets in there. They just start beating him with chairs. He gets in there. Shane starts attacking his knee. He grabs. The chair was brought into him, so he starts beating him with that. Yada yada yada. Eventually, he loses the chair. That's when Braun starts to go on the offensive. Yada yada yada. Eventually, Shane manages to get onto the outside, onto the cage, and goes up the outside, and he can easily win. But he decides to start taunting Braun, puts his hand through the cage, fence or whatever. Braun, of course, catches it, and then my man actually just starts ripping off like the fence of the cage to bring him back into the room. But it's not gonna lie, I could care less what Braun showed me, but that was cool. That
matchup coming up next.
So he brings him in there, throws that, eventually brings him back in there, then they bring him. Then they both get into the roof of the steel cage. Braun just throws him off and back onto the ring. Shane McMahon has to have a death wish to the point for doing shit like this at his age. My man's in his 50s and he's still over here jumping off rooftops, basically. Instead of Braun just going out of there and just winning the match that way, he decides, like, you know what, I'm going to climb back into the cell, power slam him, then pin. Don't know why he couldn't just leave the cage, win the match that way, but anyway, so like I said before, the match itself was fine. Nothing offensive, but nothing all that really. Anyway, next up we have Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus The Miz versus Miz. This match was probably the most entertaining match of the night. Not the best match, but the most entertaining. This one was really fun. More or less just from The Miz and not selling from like their reactions to a lot of the shit Bad Bunny was doing. And so shout out to them, even though I can't stand The Miz, honestly. He has go with heat. And I wish they would put Joe and get Joe away from him. Just have this guy. You gotta give him the props. They caused professionals. They did their job. They put Bad Bunny over. So, like I said for the Bad Bunny, I was always kind of like, whatever. I don't think I was as like, oh, put this dude off the TV. Why is he here? Get this outside with me. I was just kind of different towards the whole thing. Now, as we learned, the person James pointed out in his videos, that Bad Bunny is indeed a true fan of the business of pro wrestling. He is not like some WWE casual or anything like that. This dude does care, as you can tell if you guys never seen loves his fans at the apron, just like the side perspective business. Actually, when Jamie mentioned that, I was like, oh, that's what it is. Because I would always see it in Kansas and wrestling. I was like, why did you? I can't do it. So that's the reason. And you could obviously tell this match that he doesn't do this. This man was pretty much an action for the majority of the match. The majority of the match was just him. It was just him in the ring. It wasn't like he was just really showing for the last 5 minutes and Pete and Damian Priest. No, he was doing most of the heavy lifting throughout this match. So shout out to Bad Bunny. He did not he did not get out of place. He didn't embarrass himself. There was like next to no botches in the match. There was only like maybe one botch in the match. I don't even know if it was a botch or just purposely done. Where the Miz threw Bad Bunny into the second rope. Now it looked like he was supposed to just like, fly over, like glide out of it and land out the outside, but he ended just like smacking right in. So anyway, the Miz made their entrance. I unfortunately had to listen to hey, ha, ha. There's a bunch of rabbits coming in there, some of them lost some of their ears, and I was not amused by this music video. Then coming Priest and Bad Bunny made their entrance, and like I said, the Increase first started the match, he was ready to go in there. But of course, Miz was like, Bad Bunny, like, get in the ring, hey, get in the ring, you know your boys, get in the ring. So of course, Bad Bunny takes the ball, goes and tapping the ball. So Miz is of course overconfident, he thinks he's going to screw this guy. He thinks he's going to outwork him. He thinks he's going to like drop the foot. But Bad Bunny ends up letting a couple of good like right hooks in there. Miz is shot. He ends up getting a couple more moves in, like he does like a Hurricane Rana. He also does a Tornado DDT later on the match, and then at the end of the match, we'll get to that in a second. He does something that someone like him should not be doing, and it should not have turned out as well as it did for him to do it. But anyway, so eventually, of course, Miz and Morrison finally get to wake up and they just start beating the shit out of that. But eventually he does get a hot tag game, which is actually kind of surprised that they gave a hot tag game instead of Bad Bunny, which hopefully means that they do actually have, that they do, that the managers are going to be the main roster does think highly of the Increase, that means they will push him and not bury him like everyone else in NXT, but we'll have to see on that one. Anyway, the Increase comes in there, starts mopping the floor with them, and he just starts going back to insane. Bad Bunny ends doing like crossbody at the top of the Increase, like launches himself over the top rope. That was pretty fun. And then, when The Miz and the Increase are back in the ring, Joma is on the outside with Bad Bunny. And Bad Bunny hits a fucking Canadian Destroyer. Yeah, you heard me right. I did not stutter. You did not mishear me. Bad Bunny, a goddamn rapper, hit a Canadian Destroyer, and it actually looked very good. It looked goddamn beautiful. One of the best Canadian Destroyers I have seen. Then again, I haven't seen him move that many times. I've been programming, so the only other thing I can compare to is Andrade or Mysterio. But still, a goddamn rapper should not be hitting a Canadian Destroyer that good. That man truly was hitting PC like a man. Because there were reports in these and taking it seriously. He's like really training the PC. When he hit my Canadian Destroyer, I'm like, yep, he's trained. Yep, he trained. He put his heart and soul into his training with the PC. When he hit that, as well as it did. Anyway, Damian Priest wins anyway. Damian Priest puts The Miz up on his shoulders. Bad Bunny with a crossbody into The Miz, which of course the Miz. Great match, very much enjoyed, man, and it was never much to match. Now we get to the main event. Sasha Banks versus Bianca. This match was a fucking match. Easily match of the night of the last one, guys. I was thoroughly enthralled by that play. First off, shout out to Kaze on Sasha's outfit. My God, she looked fucking beautiful. Sasha Banks looked amazing. I love the girl. I love that she kind of added like some green and black to her hair to accompany the blue. It looked. I know some people didn't really dig the look, which I can kind of see why, but me personally, I love the look, and I thought it looked nice. I love Sasha's beauty. Shout out to Kaze. And of course, this as well as at the same time, we've got the women moving back to WrestleMania, and the first time we've had it being done by Two Black. Which of course, and this was like a nice little you can tell how much this match meant to these two women, where after like the bell starts to ring out to Bianca and Sasha are in the ring, they made the entrances, they've done their thing. When the bell rings, you can after the bell rings, you can just see that then they start to get really emotional, and they both basically just break character for like a hot minute, and they just like soak it in. Sasha's looking at the crowd. Bianca, she looks like she's about to start crying any second now. Sasha Banks, she held it a little bit more, or at least the camera didn't show it as much, when she's just kind of looking at the crowd. You could tell how much they were both very emotional. And then almost instantly after that, they snapped back into character, and they were off to the races. But yeah, man, this match was fucking phenomenal. So I love that Bianca's great, and it'll be in like the story of this match. And you can definitely tell this was Sasha's fault because they like throughout her entire run of Bianca throughout the new roster, they've almost never focused on the break. She's like never used really as a weapon that she used to in NXT. It really has been used at all. It's just kind of been a decoration, just for Bianca to swing it around when you're into it. Never really used it much in the aftermath. This time, Sasha's of course using it for submission holds to like lock it into a bank statement and other things. You also have Bianca showing up the straight. Look, always has one where she lifts Bianca up over her shoulders and just kind of like as she's like going up the stairways, up the steel steps to throw her back into the ring. Which to be fair, Bianca's like what? Not Bianca. Sasha's only like 110 pounds. So it's not like she's lifting that much. But then Bianca really shows up later on the match where she goes up for a suplex and Sasha's definitely trying to counter it. She like slowly makes her way back down there, but Bianca lifts her right back up and then suplex. That really shows Bianca's strength. And like I said before, Sasha uses hair break on a lot of the match, pulling on it to like send Bianca into stuff, using it for submission points. You also saw Sasha do like this thing where she did like it looks like she was going to do New York from top of it, she like turns it into a frog splash. She also did like this one like tornado DDT like modification that low-key looked very luchador-esque, like some shit Ray Phoenix would do, where she goes and on the second rope, has her locked up for the tornado. She then jumps off, lands later on another part of the second on the middle rope, and then goes for the DDT. It looked really fucking cool. Wouldn't be surprised if someone if like fucking Kalisto probably talking about it because because they still really good friends. So it wouldn't be surprised if he's straight up talking about it. But then as the match progresses and Sasha keeps using the break, Bianca eventually gets tired of it, she grabs her brain back and then just rips Sasha with it. And that got a huge pop down. I started bugging because I was like, yes, finally Sasha uses her brains as a weapon. So anyway, Bianca hits the KO to win the match. Of course, there was this one spot where Sasha and Bianca went like does a splash and like shooting star press or whatever the top rope. She goes and she lands it. But Sasha kicks out to her and Bianca sells this shit so good. She's like, oh, she's like so shocked that she kicked out. She's horrified. Looks like she like her entire confidence is just shattered. And like her facial expressions are so good, man. She sold the shit out of it. Gotta hit shout-outs to Bianca Belair. She's so fucking good. But anyway, KOD to win the match, and Bianca Belair is your new champion. And now Sasha is 0-6 at WrestleMania. Yeah, like the ending itself, I'm kind of conflicted on. Like on the one hand, I get it, building new stars, Bianca Belair, giving people belt. But at the same time, Sasha's never won a match at WrestleMania, and I feel like after all the good work she's done for the company, and especially during last year when Bianca with Bayley putting up the entire women's division like that, I felt like she should have been given, should have been rewarded by her winning the match and finally breaking her losing streak at WrestleMania. But at the same time, I can so understand that this was Sasha's call to like, I'm going to put over Bianca because I want to build for the future, and could this lead to her having to go into Becky Lynch with Bianca, for the title? Possible. But anyway, guys, that's where we're going to end this video off. Overall, I'm going to give day one of WrestleMania 37. I was thinking about giving it a 9, but just because of how great Sasha and Seth Rollins matches now. But I don't know if it's just how I'm kind of second guessing it, so I'm just overall I'm going to give night one of WrestleMania 37. 8.5 out of 10. Guys, it was a very good show, a great show, and looking forward to seeing night 2. For no other reason, just for the triple threat match. That should be awesome. Anyway, guys, hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you like, if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you like it. Links down in the description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.